Hello and welcome back to the channel. This will be part 3 in my series on living with anxiety and agoraphobia. This video will be specific to flying. Some tips and tricks that I've picked up as a relatively new flyer. I've started flying consistently about 2 years ago. I'd never flown as a child. We didn't really go on many family vacations or anything like that. And then throughout the beginning part of my career, I didn't have those opportunities available because I was working as a contractor mainly, so you don't really get a lot of time off to enjoy a nice vacation. And then once I started getting into more permanent roles, kind of mid-level in my career, I was able to ultimately have vacation days and start being able to travel a little bit. So started doing. I was still going through anxiety and, well, I guess I'll always be going through anxiety, but I was still on my medicine and all of that when I took my first plane ride. And I would say I just want to give people some tips and tricks that I've kind of used to fly, because dealing with someone who not only has anxiety but agoraphobia, flying is an adventure. And I know some people have, nerves about flying in general, but having agoraphobia, I feel like it's a totally different beast. At least for me, I know. So the first thing I would say is develop a routine. If it's your first time flying, obviously you won't have those established. But for me, I'll just talk about mine, and if other people have routines or anything that they kind of do, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Maybe others will take heed to those because maybe they're more applicable to their circumstance. But for me, I would say I listen to the exact same song at every takeoff. I don't know why. It just so happened to be the song that I listened to the first time I ever took off. And the song was approximately, I would say, like 5 minutes or so. It's like a little over 5 minutes, the particular song. In the song, I felt like it was the perfect length because as you're taking off, I play the song, and by the time the song is over, we've already got into the air and we're starting to level off at that point. Because right before takeoff, my nerves are super, super high. I can kind of feel the anxiousness kind of coming on, because your body knows that you're not attached to the ground anymore. I don't know. It's a weird anxiety quirk, but it knows it's not attached to the ground anymore, and then that's when it starts to panic. It's like, oh, we're in the air. There's no medical personnel here. Start panicking. So my body goes into fight or flight immediately as we start taking off. But just listen to the song, and then by the time it gets up in the air, because that's kind of, for me, it's one of the worst parts, because you just have all of that force kind of going against your body, and you're anxious and you're tight. So I listen to the same song, and what I'll typically do is I'll download a show that I've already watched before, and I'll download like a random season of it. So I'll watch that throughout the duration of the flight. If you fly with Delta, which I've had the luxury of kind of flying with them on the last couple trips, you're able to see live TV and movies and stuff like that. So they also have games on there as well in the in-seat entertainment. So just keeping yourself distracted. Whether you bring like a Sudoku book or magazine, or just something to keep your mind busy while you're on the flight. Because if you start to not have anything to do and your mind starts to be able to then wander. If your mind starts to wander a little bit, then that's when you get into trouble, because your brain has the ability to then start telling your body, hey, you know, we're not focusing on anything. We need to focus on being panicked because we're, you know, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles in the air, and there's no saving you at this point. Um, and I would say even a routine before I even make it to the plane, kind of talk about those, is making sure that I'm hydrated. Having anxiety takes a lot out on the body, and it taps into some of your kind of core system. So staying hydrated is very important, because if you're not, that not only boosts up your anxiety, which I found for me at least, when I haven't taken in enough water and I'm not as hydrated as I should be, it immediately I start to like kind of, as I'm going through my anxiety and stuff, I can just feel my body kind of tensing up, and when it does that, there's no kind of hydration in there to ultimately not stop it from getting worse. So for me, hydrating, every once in a while, I will have a drink before I get on the plane. And I heard this from people that not necessarily have anxiety, but may just have, just flight anxiety, that they take a drink or two to get the edge off. And, sometimes I would do it, and I don't know, it didn't really help me one way or the other. Um, Obviously, I mean, I guess if you drink enough, you'll feel pretty good, and you'll probably pass out and take a little nap. I'm not really one to fall asleep on planes, just because there's a lot going on and I can't really sleep like that. Because it's hard for me to sleep when my mind's racing like that anyway. So that wouldn't be I guess, a good thing for me anyway. So, but for some people, taking a little drink kind of helps them relax. Um, and I would say do whatever you got to do. Whatever makes you most comfortable. I say do that, because I think at the end of the day, it's all about what's going to make you feel good. I would say if you're looking to, if you have agoraphobia or just generalized anxiety disorder, and you're looking to start flying, maybe you haven't flown in a while, or maybe it's your first time trying to fly, I would say look for a short flight. I would say maybe if you try to find a destination that's, maybe, I guess, an hour or so in the air away. Like I'm in Ohio, and for us, the top part of Florida, so like Clearwater, Destin, stuff like that, to go to the beach, it's basically about a 45-minute to an hour flight. And then you factor in taxiing, on the from your airport, and then once you get to the arriving airport, it's about 15 minutes that way. So it's really only about 45 minutes in the air. And then once you actually get in the air, that 45 minutes is pretty quick. So you're in the air for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then you're at your destination. So for me, that's pretty comfortable. I don't like I feel like if I had a graph of like my anxiety, takeoff, it's at peak. We level off, and then my body's still trying to calm down a little bit. So I'm near peak, but I'm slowly coming down, and then eventually, I kind of level off a little bit. And then the longer the flight kind of goes, it kind of bounces up and down, up and down, up and down. But it never gets. I try to, breathe and do my breathing techniques and stuff like that. It never really gets to the point where I can't manage it. But definitely at some points in the flight it gets kind of uncomfortable. But at this point, long I've been dealing with it, I just kind of deal with it. I would say some other things that you can do to kind of make your flight more enjoyable. Opt for a bigger seat. It's not a necessity, but I find that sometimes because we have a lot of cheaper flights out of Cincinnati, but they're usually on discounted airlines, so you're in these tight, confined quarters next to other people, so you're sitting like this. You're not able to kind of relax a little bit, and if you're already tense and then you're confined, it can agitate that anxiety a little bit more. So if you have the ability to do that, I would say pay a couple extra dollars so you can have that comfort, and get a nice low seat. So in some of the budget kind of airlines like Spirit or Frontier or Allegiant, these are probably going to be the exit row seats. But for like Delta and stuff like that, you'll be in like Comfort Plus, etc., etc. Also, you probably want to look for bigger planes. This is not something you can always tell or see once you are when you're booking it. You're just usually booking the flight, and then they just kind of tell you what plane it is. But bigger planes, typically you won't. I don't know. For me, I don't feel the. I guess I don't know what the word would be, but I guess it'd be like inertia or whatever. Like I don't feel that pull against me in bigger planes as I do when we're in the smaller planes. I feel like I feel everything like as we're flying through the air. So turbulence and all that is usually a little bit better on the bigger planes. But that's not something you can always tell. But if you have the ability to choose a bigger plane, I would definitely choose that. And I would say lastly, if you truly want to fly somewhere that's a little bit out of your comfort zone, I would say choose a connecting flight. I guess there's a couple benefits for that. One being that it's usually a little cheaper to connect, because they're able to get you to probably one of their hub cities to fly out of, and it's a little bit more convenient for them. But then, so instead of having a 4-hour flight or a 5 or 6 hour flight, you can break it up into segments. So you'll fly here for 2 hours, you'll fly here for an hour, you'll fly there for 2.5 hours, you'll fly here for 45 minutes, and then you'll go on another hour to your actual destination. It breaks up the trip, so that first leg of the trip, you make it through, you take some time, you go to your next hub, you're able to sit down, relax, kind of calm down a little bit, maybe get something to eat. That's important. Make sure that you're eating, getting some fluids in you, relieving yourself if you need to, and then you're able to kind of, all right, that wasn't too bad, your brain's feeling good, get on your second leg. And for me, connecting flights have always been better. The first leg is usually when I have the anxiety like I typically do, and the second leg, it's my brain, it's like, okay, we've been through this before, it's fine. And I don't seem to have as much anxiety on that second leg of it. So for me, that's kind of what works. And then I guess I'll kind of talk through just my first time flying, as this video's getting a little bit long as well. So my first time, I went to Clearwater Beach. I went by myself. I just wanted a quick vacation. They had some really, really cheap flights. I saw that the flight thing was only about an hour. So I was like, cool. I'll go down here and check out Florida. I've never been. This was a couple years ago. So I flew down. First I got to the airport, and I'd never flown before. I didn't ask anyone for any advice, and I just so happened to have my check bag because I didn't know like that you're supposed to check the bags in when you get there. So I had my entire check bag like with all my crap in it, about 40 pounds of stuff, and it had all of my electronics, all this stuff in it, my CPAP machine, bunch of stuff, right? And I'm taking it through TSA. So like they didn't even stop me. They just let me take all my stuff out, and it took me forever because I had this big old luggage. I'm rumbling through it, trying to get all the electronics and stuff out, all the bad like big bottles of shampoo and stuff like that. Like they had to throw that away. It was a complete mess. But they ended up letting me take my check bag through TSA. So I put this big bag on the conveyor belt. It went through. They checked me. Everything was good. So I went to my gate, and they're like, "All right, da da da. Like you paid for a check bag. So what is this?" And I'm like, "It's my check bag." It's like you're supposed to check that back at the front desk. And I'm like, "Oh, did not know that." So luckily, once we got onto the little ramp to get onto the plane, they ended up throwing it down below, and they literally just threw it down on the ground below, and destroyed my bag. It's like a little cheap Walmart bag anyway, but still, it was the principle. So I got on the flight. I was trying to find some songs and stuff to listen to. Got up into the air. And I think at that point, my anxiety level was really, really high. And I just kept thinking, like, man, I do not want to have a panic attack on the plane. Like, this would be my first time on a plane. I'm going to have a panic attack, and I will never, ever be able to fly again. And every time that I think about this stuff, like, I think about my daughter because she's now 9. And I've now been able to take her places that I've never been as a child. And it's all been via plane for the most part. I mean, obviously, we have stuff within driving distance from where we are, so we've done a lot of that stuff. But being able to go to the beach, and her beach is now her favorite thing, I just push myself because I know that in the end, it'll all be worth it. So I get through all of the discomfort that I'm feeling while we're flying, and the anxiety and all of that. I get through all of that because I know at the end of the day there's a greater purpose. So I work hard, as hard as I can. I try to avoid all the negativity that kind of comes with, trying to get your body to think that, okay, everything is fine. You don't need to worry, you don't need to panic, you're fine. So yeah, this video is running kind of long. So I will kind of wrap things up there. As I kind of think through things, maybe I'll make a part 2 or something like that. Or if people have other kind of comments below that they kind of have some tips and tricks, let people know, because I think it's important, because there are a lot of people obviously that have anxiety out here, and I think for them, some people don't fly it out because they just, they have this anxiety. And to see people that have anxiety like them and they're able to kind of live their lives and do those things, I think it's a benefit for them as well. But so thank you again for tuning in. Also a big shout out to everyone who supported my first video. In like 4 days, it made it to 15,000 views. 15,000 views from a channel that has 9 subscribers. So, obviously, unless those 9 people watched it, a ton of times, I was thoroughly impressed. I was happy. So I'm like, I'm just like this little guy with 9 subscribers chilling here, and yeah, my video got 15,000 views. And I'm like, 15,000 people have heard me speak. So, no, I thought that was pretty cool. So I have some videos coming. I'm trying to get a schedule to kind of start pumping these out. I have a lot of content that I want to kind of talk about. Just trying to figure out the best way to get all of these videos out in a timely manner, and as I get better with recording and making it look more professional and kind of doing different stuff like that. I'm still working through all that, but right now it's just raw and uncut, no editing or anything like that. I'm just kind of talking, and as you can see, we're already at 20 minutes, so it's probably time for me to wrap this up as well. But just wanted to thank everyone again for supporting my videos. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to other people out there who may be going through something similar. So if you ever have any feedback or just want to chat about anything, hit me up. I will start leaving my email in the bar down below, so you can check. You can always hit me up. We can chat it up. Yeah, until next time, thank you for the support, and I will talk to you guys later. See you later.